4 years ago, I was flown halfway across the world to Japan to feature on national Japanese television to play a game of tag. After a few very heavy hangovers, a pretty serious injury, and pretty much a physical fight, things didn't really go to plan. So as a massive thanks for recently hitting 100,000 subscribers, I'm gonna tell you this pretty ridiculous story from a time in my life. Our story starts on the 1st of October 2017. I received an email from a lady who, for privacy's sake, we'll call M. I'm currently doing research for a special program which will be broadcast on Fuji TV during the New Year's time slot. Your boy's made it. I'm big time now, baby. I'm gonna be on Japanese television. The basic concept of the program is introducing the best figures around the world who have won a first prize in a competition of various activities. So you might be thinking, Jimmy, I didn't know you were a world champion. And that's because I'm not. You see, I was in a parkour team called Morera Gang. Now, Morera Gang was a clothing brand. We made comedies, we did things like that. But we had also made a specific world chase tag team.
GNF versus Morera Gang.
So we found out very quickly that most of us were really bad at world chase tag. So in fact, only 2 of the Morera Gang brands ended up in the world chase tag team. Those 2 being Greg and James. And the basic premise for this TV show in Japan was basically along the lines of how would the local Japanese team hold up against the world champions of world chase tag. Obviously, we were all blown away at this opportunity. We couldn't believe it. However, very quickly, we realized a very fatal problem in this plan. And that was that everyone in the Morera Gang brand was adamant they were going to go. But only 2 of the brand were actually world chase tag players. The rest of us were basically cheerleaders. But, you know, we overlooked that. What could possibly go wrong? So I jumped straight back on the email. And I very quickly went from humbled and honored at the opportunity to starting to make demands. You see, they were only asking for 4 people for the world chase tag team. So I replied to them, a world chase tag match is made up of 2 teams of 4 players, plus a manager. All roles are vital in creating a very exciting match that is played well and enjoyable to watch. Straight back into the group chat, we started talking about money, thinking, right, how much can we squeeze this opportunity for money? At this point, the group chat basically turned into an auction house and everyone was throwing what they thought was a good amount of money. It went as high as about £7,000 and then we came back to a more sensible £5,000. Amazingly, they had agreed. So now the negotiations were over, we had 2 months to wait until we were going to fly out there. And this is where things started to get a bit funny. And we found out that they wanted to change the rules of the game. So World Chase Tag works as a 20-second round where if you can evade the chaser for that 20 seconds, you win a point. But they had sent us an email saying they wanted to change that. The team that will challenge you are not professional like you. It will be a team of Japanese famous action stars. So instead of a real chase tag match, we want you guys to play something more fun and simple. Your boy, thirsty for that 5k bag and a trip to Japan, blindly agreed to these conditions. The 15th of December 2017.
We'll finish this bottle and then we'll need that one.
After 2 months of waiting, we wake up at Connor's house after about 3 hours sleep and a ton of alcohol in our system. Now that last bit's going to become a bit of a recurring theme in this story.
Yeah, we're tired. We're gonna try and sleep.
But anyway, our hangovers were overridden by our excitement. We hopped on the 11-hour flight to Japan. As soon as we stepped onto the plane, we got a feel of what this holiday... I even said the word holiday. It wasn't meant to be a holiday. It was as if the moment we stepped onto this plane, we had entered this portal to another world. We touched down in Tokyo at sunrise. We're in Japan. We arrive at the hotel and we go up to the checkout, to which we're greeted politely with an envelope. That envelope had £5,000 cash. For some weird reason, they wanted us to take cash. Like, they didn't want to wire transfer us, which definitely did feel a little bit shady, but nonetheless, we accepted the £5,000 cash. So, of course, as free runners, within the first hour of arriving in Japan, we started to look for parkour spots near us. We found this little spot around the corner, so we killed some time training there before we had to go to the studio. Yikes.
That's getting good, yeah?
It was at this point that we met Kevin. Now, Kevin he's an absolute legend. He was basically our translator and just kind of tour guide, someone to keep with us and keep us sweet. He took us to this giant warehouse where they had currently set up the World Chase Tag Court. This court had been out there for weeks, and these supposed amateurs of World Chase Tag had weeks to train on it. And bearing in mind, you know, we obviously think we're gonna go out there and completely destroy these guys because, well, we're the best. I think it was at this moment we started to realize, they might actually kind of know what they're doing. We went back to the hotel with the intention of going to sleep. However, me, Connor, James, Jamie, we decided to have a couple of drinks. So I distinctly remember Greg saying, I don't think this is a good idea. You know, he decided to be professional, go to bed, get an early night so we could be fresh for filming tomorrow. In hindsight, probably should have done the same thing, but I didn't. I stayed up, I had a few to drink, and got, again, quite drunk. You guys are probably getting quite a bad impression of me. This was 4 years ago, just bear that in mind.
How you feeling?
I'm good. Oh, you don't want to puke in this big.
You do it out the window. Ready to rock?
I'm better now.
The next day we wake up and there was a tension in the air. Greg was clearly annoyed at us for getting drunk. So I told you at the beginning this story gets a little bit weird and I might as well just get straight into it. So me and the guys decided we wanted to make a film, like a documentary film. What about, you might be wondering? Well, you know, we're a parkour brand, so maybe it'd be about clothes and parkour. No. We decided to make a film where Greg would dress up as a character called Francois Dupree, who was basically going to be this South African tourist information guy who would go to Japan to explain Japanese culture to South Africans.
Hi, I'm Francois Dupree, and I've been sent here by the high officials of South Africa to find out more about Japanese culture.
If you're thinking it sounds a bit like a Borat ripoff, then you're not wrong. So in the dressing rooms for the show that we were supposed to be there to concentrate on, we started storyboarding a full 30-minute mockumentary film called Francois Dupree Lost in Tokyo. So we just started throwing Greg into these awkward situations, dressed in this ridiculous outfit, as he played this floundering TV presenter who just was obsessed with Marrero Gang. And then the main part of the story would be his love interest. He would fall in love with a Japanese masseuse. This Japanese masseuse would be played by none other than Kevin, or at least his hands, because it felt kind of inappropriate to go up to a random female and ask her to massage Greg. And we all kind of agreed that Kevin had the most feminine hands out of all of us. But anyway, we'll get back to the Francois Dupree story in a moment. What we were initially there for, as I said, was to go and play World Chase Tag. So we arrived at the big itte studio. This was like a full production studio, and it was incredible. It was a proper TV studio.
You like it?
It's incredible.
So they're just doing some lighting and sound checking now.
Oh, descent.
But just as it was going so well, disaster struck.
First fight of the day against your
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Struggling to stand on it.
Still feeling somewhat dreary and hungover from yet another night of drinking, during literally my very first practice run on the course, I completely slammed my knee into one of the obstacles. And I tried to carry on, like I jumped back onto my feet, carried on, thought it was just a little knock, but it really wasn't. Like I'd seriously done something to my knee. Within like 10 minutes, my knee had already swollen up, and I was walking as if I didn't have a kneecap.
Kieran.
You are?
Check out your knee.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Kieran.
It doesn't look like that. It's just as inflamed inside it.
On site and close to hand, there was a sports therapist who took one look at my knee and said, yeah, that's going to take a month to heal. I remember looking over at Greg and just seeing the look in his face. And I knew exactly what he was thinking. He was thinking, you idiot, why did you go and get drunk last night and then injure yourself within a minute of training? So there I was, completely injured and almost unable to walk. The television network had already made all the graphics using my face. They had run adverts with my face. Everything was set up for me to be on this show, and I could hardly walk. At this point, the whole studio was in panic mode. Everyone was trying to come up with a solution, like, what are we gonna do?
Okay, but then Kieran's gonna have to do Connor's matches.
I told him we need it, so please, say to the
We have 2 days until we have to film this. And then they came up with the funniest solution I think I could have ever heard.
Yeah, he goes, I can't tell the difference between Connor and Kieran.
No, he can't. He really can't.
Thinking,
But they don't look the same at all.
Oh yeah, no, we do.
Because
For
they
sure.
all have like the
Glasses,
same hair,
stupid hair.
glasses,
Yeah,
beard.
talk a lot, beard.
The
Yeah.
director of the film company approached us and said, "Why doesn't Connor play Kieran?" Well, what do you mean? Because Connor's already on the show. He's already competed. Well, yeah, no, but that's fine. There's no problems there. To the Japanese audience, Connor and Kieran look identical. They wouldn't be able to tell you guys apart. Like, I kid you not, this is what they told us. Being that both Connor and me are white Westerners who wear glasses and at the time had quite silly hair, I mean, it's not much better at the moment. This director was trying to genuinely tell us that they would not notice if we just said that Connor was Kieran. Luckily, because I bargained in that we needed a fifth person as a manager, we had Jamie on standby to basically fill in my position. Now, this would mean correcting all the graphics, changing as much as they could, but Jamie stepped up to fill my place. Jamie became Kieran. Yeah, I know it's confusing. Like, I go by Jimmy the Giant here, but my name is Kieran. So even though the show would say Kieran, it would be Jamie. The magic of television. So now that we had a solution, the team carried on rehearsing, and they played against the celebrity team and completely demolished them. Rehearsal over, we head back to the hotel and we go to sleep. For the first time, we didn't get drunk and we actually slept on time. And we woke up the next day feeling fresh, ready for our star performance on Japanese national television.
俺たちを捕まえられる奴はいない俺たちに捕まえられない奴はいない世界大会2連覇の偉業を引っ提げ堂々の入場日本よ俺たちに挑戦するのはまだまだ早い今夜実力の差を見せ
We had the whole studio audience there, celebrity panelists, about 20 people working on the film crew. This was the real deal. Like, the feeling we had, we felt like stars. We were treated like royalty because there we were, the world champions of World Chase Tag. Well, two of us were.
第1試合世界ナンバーワンチームマレーロギャング vs
So the first match begins and we go against the jokey celebrity team. And we knew we were going to destroy them because we played them in the rehearsal and they were really bad. But they weren't. They were really good. It turned out that the celebrity team we played in rehearsal wasn't the entire celebrity team, and in fact there were going to be some people who did have a bit of a sporting background. So we go up against this team, and yeah, some of them are terrible, but some of them are really good. And bearing in mind the rules of the game had changed, so no one was competing to get a 20-second evasion, but instead it was who could evade for the longest period of time. So for example, if I didn't get tagged for a whole 10 seconds, but you didn't get tagged for 15 seconds, you would win. But anyway, this game was tough. It was hard. We did win, but only just. Like, it got close. We got together and realised we were in deeper water than we expected. And if this was how good the celebrity team was going to be, well, then maybe we should take Monster PK a bit more seriously. The first round starts and Connor steps up.
ゆうたろう選手行きましたコナー接近戦を挑んでいるのかそこからうまく障害物をくぐり抜けていくスピード感がある
And Connor managed to evade for a whole 9 seconds against their 6 seconds. So the first point we'd won, which gave us a good start. Then James steps onto the plate. Now bear in mind, James had a lot of World Chase Tag experience at this point. He was a star player, in fact.
3, 2, 1 序盤からジェームスで
James got tagged in 4 seconds, so that's not good. It's now 1-1. Then Jamie steps up to the plate. Jamie being my replacement. Jamie had even less World Chase Tag experience than me. I'd played a couple of games. And then Jamie gets tagged in 5 seconds. And their guy gets an evasion. We're now 2-1 down, and there's one chase left. Luckily, we had Greg left. Greg, the captain, the champion of World Chase Tag, he was there to at least level the game, get it 2-2. So Greg steps up to the plate. And he gets tagged in just under 6 seconds. Taishi just needed to evade for longer than 6 seconds to win the game.
3, 2, 1レッグ飛んでいったぞさあこれは気をつけろしかしくぐり抜けていく大志ここからフェイントを見せながらタッチ
Taishi got tagged in 10 seconds, winning the game for Monster PK. Meaning that the world champions of this sport, I'm talking like the Roger Federer, I don't know any sporting legends who are the best at the moment, so that's the best you're getting, had lost against a local team who had never competed competitively before. And we were destroyed. It was 3-1. And the guys had to just stand there trying to keep a smile on their face as, I mean, I couldn't tell what they were saying, but you can kind of read the body language. The guys just had to stand there and take it. It was pretty embarrassing. We went back to our dressing room to try and console our embarrassment, and the tension between Greg and myself was pretty palpable. There was definitely some bad blood in the air. I felt as if Greg kind of blamed me for this loss. And I mean, kind of fair enough. I got drunk, really injured myself, and then we lost really badly. I could see how he might have connected some dots together. But alas, we decided the best way to get over this loss was to go out, finish our documentary film, which we had been filming, and get drunk again. Because that worked so well for us the first few times.
Filming.
Alright. Behind me, we have the Prime Minister, or shall I say the Optimus Prime Minister.
So we went out with Greg in full Francois Dupree mode, and we visited the famous Shibuya crossing. We knew we had to finish the documentary, so we started wrapping it up with some final scenes. The main crux of the story was going to be where Francois Dupree bumped into Kevin.
Oh, what's your name? Kevin, what's up? Oh, Kevin, my name is Francois.
Kevin, being a local, was going to show Francois around the city and have a couple of drinks. And whilst they would have a couple of drinks, Kevin would brutally tell Francois that the masseuse that he had fallen in love with didn't love him and that she was just a masseuse.
We're in love. We're gonna have some kids one day. She doesn't remember you.
Heartbroken, Francois drinks to drown his woes. Now, Greg was playing drunk on camera here, but we were actually drinking as well. And we were drinking quite a lot. Beers, cocktails, and then we discovered what, to this day, I can only describe as a drink made by the devil himself. And that drink was unironically called Strong. This was a 9% cocktail, and not like a cocktail I've ever had in my life before. This one literally tasted like a Fanta orange juice. You couldn't taste the alcohol, and they were scarily easy to drink. So naturally, we started necking these, and we were finding ourselves to be, somewhat inebriated. But we had forgotten to film one scene, and this was the most important scene. This was the scene where Francois would meet his idols, Morera Gang, at their hotel. So with our flights at around 10 AM the next day, we were awake at, I think, 4 AM, and we had just arrived at the hotel, desperate to film this final scene. So Greg cracked on with filming. They filmed this ridiculous scene of him getting really upset in his hotel room. There we go. And then we planned to film the scene where Francois encounters Morero. But at this point, and I sound like a broken record here, I was very inebriated. And as drunk people do, they can't often take things that seriously. So whilst Greg is trying to film this thing, I'm maybe joking around a little bit. And I might have been rolling on the floor in my underwear. And that might have started to annoy Greg, who I was already having a bit of tension with. As we line up to film this scene, Greg just snaps.
I found what.
You guys are so bad. No. He shouts at me to shut up, and he grabs me by the neck. So there I was, flexing my £1,000, which for some reason we thought was a good idea, on the brink of having a fight with my best friend. The situation de-escalates, we get split up and sent into different hotel rooms, where we continued to drink for another few hours, bearing in mind that our flight was at 10 AM. After 1 hour of sleep, we're woken up to the news that the shuttle bus that's taken us to the airport is at the door, ready to leave. In one complete blur, I got dressed, packed all of my stuff, and got myself onto this bus. And our motley crew of what would have looked like hungover rock stars headed to the airport, still just as drunk as when they had fallen asleep. Miraculously, we got onto the flight just in time, and as you would expect, we all fell asleep very quickly. But mid-flight, I woke up angrily. Something inside of me just wasn't right, and I didn't know what. I turned to James, who was sat next to me, and I said, "Did Greg try and strangle me last night?" To which James, I'm sure just trying to diffuse my very apparent anger, said, No, I think you guys were just messing around." I sat there fuming, just thinking to myself, did he strangle me? Was that a joke? I came to the conclusion that it wasn't a joke and that Greg tried to strangle me. So I got up. Bearing in mind, it was now a silent flight because we were crossing time zones, it was night time. Everyone was in silence, and I walked up to where Greg was sat. And I said, "Greg," he took his headphones out and he said, yeah, what's up? Did you did you strangle me last night? And I think he just looked at me. I took that as a yes, he did strangle me last night. And so in my still somewhat drunk demeanor, I told him he should never do that again. And if he did, I would be very unhappy or something like that. I was trying to be threatening. I don't know how it came across. All the while, in the most stereotypical, polite British way I could, I was being very acute to how loud I was talking. So whilst I'm probably making that out to be like I grabbed him around the throat and gave him what's for, I'm pretty sure I was talking like this the whole time. I touched down in England, hot-headed, hungover, and on the brink of losing my closest friend. All because I was so focused on just having fun and not taking anything serious. I'm here with none other than Francois Dupree.
How's it? I'm Francois. Like a month afterwards, we all sat down and had a big meeting together with each other. We realized that our ambition, or our passions, were similar.
Yeah,
they weren't just down the same route.
But you learn from it, and I'm just really glad, as friends, we managed to work through that.
100%.
Like, at the end of the day, you're friends, and if something ain't working out, like, talk about it, work it out, and respect it, and we're here today. Living proof that you can be friends. If you're wondering what happened to Francois Dupree lost in Tokyo, well, it kind of got lost in Tokyo. I got home, I edited it, it was really, really bad. I mean, what do you expect? We wrote it in a dress rehearsal. And I just never wanted to put it out. So if there's one thing I could ask you to take away from my story, is that life isn't a throwaway. Life is serious. And whilst having fun and just enjoying yourself is good in moderation, the things that are gonna really deeply fill you with a sense of purpose are probably not gonna be things that come to you if you're only focused on dossing off of work and having fun. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. You can support me by either buying something on jimmythegiant.co.uk, support me on Patreon, or using the sponsored link below. Peace.